Imagine delivering a baby and watching in horror as a second infant emerges from the exact same position, not as conjoined twins, but as if one child had been hiding inside the other's body. Now, imagine discovering that one of those babies was born 20 years ago to the same mother who hasn't aged a single day. That's exactly what happened to me on a February night that changed everything I believed about human reproduction. My name is Eleanor Vance, and for 32 years I served as a certified nurse midwife at St. Catherine's Women's Hospital in rural Vermont. I've delivered over 3,000 babies during my career, witnessed every kind of miracle and tragedy that can occur during childbirth, and thought I had seen everything the human body could produce. The case I'm about to describe violated every principle of human biology, defied medical explanation, and forced me to retire early because I could no longer trust what I was seeing in delivery rooms. St. Catherine's serves a scattered rural population across 3 counties, handling everything from routine deliveries to high-risk pregnancies. The hospital's obstetrics unit has 6 birthing rooms, a Level 2 NICU, and handles approximately 800 deliveries per year. During my 3 decades there, I developed expertise in complicated births, multiple pregnancies, and emergency procedures that most midwives never encounter. The case began on February 14, 2022, Valentine's Day, ironically enough. I was working the graveyard shift when a young woman named Sarah Chen arrived at our emergency entrance in what appeared to be active labor. She was 23 years old, unmarried, and claimed she had received no prenatal care because she'd been unaware of her pregnancy until contractions started that evening. Dr. Marcus Webb, our attending obstetrician, performed the initial examination while I prepared the birthing room. Sarah's presentation was immediately unusual. Despite claiming active labor with contractions every 3 minutes, her cervix was only 4 centimeters dilated. More disturbing, when Dr. Webb tried to determine the baby's position, his expression grew increasingly confused. "Eleanor, I need you to confirm what I'm feeling," he said quietly, his voice tense with uncertainty. When I performed my own examination, what I felt through the birth canal defied anatomical logic. Instead of a single baby's head in the normal vertex position, there seemed to be 2 distinct formations occupying the same space, as if 2 babies were somehow layered on top of each other. "That's impossible," I whispered, "but doctor..." Webb nodded grimly. "The ultrasound equipment keeps malfunctioning when we try to scan her," he said. "We're getting readings that suggest multiple babies, but in positions that can't exist." Sarah's labor progressed with alarming speed. Within 2 hours, she was fully dilated and ready to push. But as the first baby began crowning, I witnessed something that haunts my dreams to this day. What appeared to be a normal baby's head emerged, followed by shoulders and body, a healthy infant boy who immediately started crying. But as I lifted him away from the birth canal, expecting the delivery to be complete, another baby continued emerging from the exact same position. Not as a twin following his brother, but as if he had been occupying the identical space within Sarah's uterus. The second infant was also a healthy, full-term boy, identical in every way to his brother. Both babies weighed approximately 7 pounds and showed perfect APGAR scores. According to every principle of obstetrics, what we had just witnessed was medically impossible. 2 babies of that size cannot occupy the same uterine position without killing the mother and both infants. "Sarah," Dr. Webb said as we performed routine newborn assessments, "did you know you were carrying twins?" Her response chilled me to the bone. I knew there were 2 of them, but they weren't always both there at the same time. When we pressed her to explain, Sarah described experiencing her pregnancy in a way that challenged everything I knew about human gestation. She claimed that for the first 5 months, she had carried only 1 baby. But around the 20th week, she began sensing a second presence, as if another child had somehow joined the first within her womb. "The second one came from when he was supposed to be," Sarah said matter-of-factly. "He waited until it was time to be born with his brother." Dr. Webb ordered comprehensive genetic testing for both infants. The results, delivered a week later, revealed our first major shock. Both babies were genetically identical twins sharing the same DNA. But their cellular development told an impossible story. Baby A showed normal fetal development consistent with 9 months in a human uterus. Baby B, however, displayed cellular markers suggesting portions of his growth had occurred in an environment that didn't exist on Earth. Isotopic ratios in his tissue indicated exposure to atmospheric conditions found nowhere in our solar system. Dr. Rebecca Martinez, the genetic specialist we consulted, was baffled. It's as if one baby developed normally while his twin grew somewhere else entirely, then somehow joined him for birth. Our second shock came when we discovered Sarah's medical history at our own hospital. Records showed that Sarah Chen had given birth to a baby boy at St. Catherine's on February 14, 2002, exactly 20 years earlier. The birth certificate, medical files, and photographs showed an infant identical to baby A, delivered by a woman who looked exactly like our current patient. "This has to be a clerical error, Doctor," Webb insisted. "The Sarah from 2002 would have been 3 years old." But when we compared fingerprints, dental records, and DNA samples, the evidence was undeniable. Sarah Chen had given birth to genetically identical babies 20 years apart without aging a single day. When I confronted Sarah about the impossible records, her calm response was our third shock. "I knew you'd find the other birth," she said. "I've been coming here longer than most people realize." Sarah explained that her family experienced time differently than others. "My babies needed to be born in different years. The first one was ready in 2002, so that's when I delivered him. The second one needed to develop longer, so he waited 20 years to join his brother." Our fourth shock came from hospital security footage. Video from 2002 showed a woman identical to Sarah giving birth to a baby indistinguishable from baby A. Employment records from local businesses showed Sarah Chen working various jobs throughout the past 2 decades, but she appeared exactly the same age in every photograph. The fifth shock was discovering that baby A and the infant born in 2002 weren't just similar, they were identical down to birthmarks, hair patterns, and facial features. It was literally the same baby, born twice, 20 years apart. During Sarah's recovery, she revealed our sixth shock. Her family had been using hospitals like St. Catherine's for generations to deliver children across different time periods. "We don't age like other people," she explained. "We exist when our children need us to exist." Dr. Webb and I began investigating other unusual births in our records. Our seventh shock was discovering dozens of cases over 5 decades involving women who appeared the same age across multiple decades, delivering babies with identical genetic markers to infants born years earlier. The pattern suggested we had unknowingly been serving families who existed outside normal temporal boundaries, using our facility to birth children into specific time periods according to some incomprehensible schedule. Our final shock came 3 days before Sarah's discharge. Hospital staff reported seeing her in 2 different locations simultaneously, in her room recovering and in the cafeteria with both babies. Security cameras confirmed that Sarah somehow existed in multiple places at once, as if time itself bent around her family. Sarah was discharged with both babies on March 1, 2022. As I watched her leave, I realized my understanding of human reproduction had been shattered beyond repair. 6 months later, I retired early. I could no longer assist deliveries without wondering if the babies were human, if they belonged to our time, or if I was facilitating something that violated the basic laws of existence. After extensive research and sleepless nights trying to understand what I witnessed, I've developed a theory about what might be happening. I believe some families exist in what physicists call temporal loops, pockets of space-time where causality operates differently. These families might be stuck reliving certain events across multiple timelines, with births occurring whenever their children need to exist in our reality. The electromagnetic fields generated by modern hospital equipment, MRI machines, fetal monitors, electronic systems, might create temporal distortions that allow these families to access our timeline for reproduction. The fact that Sarah's pregnancies coincided with upgrades to our hospital's electronic systems supports this theory. Based on my experience, I urge medical professionals to be cautious of patients with the following characteristics: no prenatal care, unusual calm during impossible deliveries, claims about time working differently for their family, and medical records that suggest impossible timelines. If you encounter such cases, document everything but don't try to prevent the births. These families seem to operate according to natural laws we don't understand, and interfering might have consequences beyond our comprehension. Most importantly, if you work in obstetrics, pay attention to patients who seem too calm about impossible circumstances. They might be part of something far larger and stranger than human medicine can explain. Sarah's case taught me that reproduction might involve forces and dimensions beyond our understanding. Somewhere out there, she's raising twins who are simultaneously newborns and 20 years old, and other temporal families might be using hospitals worldwide to deliver their children across the boundaries of time itself. The twins born 20 years apart remain the most terrifying case of my career, not because of what I witnessed, but because of what their existence suggests about the nature of time, human reproduction, and families who exist according to rules that transcend everything we thought we knew about biology and temporal causality.